just a great crowd. We really appreciate everyone being here this evening. My name is Roy Ellis, and I'm with midlandcommunity.ca. We're actually doing this in tandem tonight with a group called NeXtgen. And some of you go, NeXtgen, what the heck's NeXtgen? Who are these people? Well, this passionate group of youngsters made up of Gen X's and Gen Y's, and most of you should know what that means, between about 20 and 52 age group, has made a connection with midlandcommunity.ca on several fronts. The ones which resonate most are directed at getting Midland back to work and maximizing the beauty and the full potential of our great town. Now, first a little bit. So, our theme tonight is real simple. Midland Matters, you matter, and getting involved matters. The next 5 speakers are from a group called NeXtgens. These are talented folks who are highly vested in Midland with their work, their homes, their business, their sense of community and pride, and in many cases with their children. They have a real interest in getting Midland back to work. They know that business is tough, they know that high-paying quality jobs are hard to find, and they know local taxes are high and outpace most incomes. They also witness the widening gap and disparity between young risk-takers and entrepreneurs like themselves and those in government and emergency services who enjoy much greater job security and more generous wages and benefits. And yes, folks, I said that out loud. Okay, there's a widening gap and a disparity here, and we got to give our head a shake. So with this as a backdrop, I'm going to introduce Scott Campbell here. And Scott is a coffee roaster and owns a business with his wife Nicole, Grounded Coffee, as you would know. Yay! He's the director of Midland's Downtown BIA. Now here's his passion. Can I read the passion, sir? Letting Ontario know that we are the access point to the best freshwater playground in the world through a positive and creative strategy, ultimately helping fuel the renaissance of our downtown. And by the way, to continue to keep making great coffee. Okay, so hopefully review. Scott Fire was on the show. Take it away, Pop.
Thanks to Archie for hosting us tonight. So it's great to do it again. He also said that my name is Scott Campbell. I'm part owner of Grounded Coffee Company, along with my wife Nicole Pinto. I want what's best for this town because this town has the potential to be a thriving hub. And this is where the opportunity to grow our people and grow our businesses exists. Midland needs to attract employers that can offer to their employees something special that does not exist anywhere else in Ontario, like it does here. And we have it. It's called Midland Harbor and Georgian Bay. Currently, there are over 20 new or expanding businesses downtown within the last year, and the change is moving to include not just retail, but also many professional services. This summer, the 2nd annual Butter Tart Festival will this summer, the 2nd annual Ontario's Best Butter Tart Festival will bring in potentially 10,000 people and 50,000 butter tarts, and hope that by next year we will exceed that number and create a 2-day event that will keep people in town longer, letting them see what we really have to offer. Also coming up this summer is the Southern Georgian Bay Bike Week that has made way for council passing for the first time in a long history, camping in Little Lake Park. And if the numbers come in as expected, we are going to see another 10,000 visitors to our downtown and town, also taking in what our area has to offer. Our downtown is about to undergo a master plan study, combined also with the Blue Edge plan at the Uniman Lands, now being referred to as Midland Bay Landing. We are at the start of, and I've said it before, a renaissance period in our downtown. And the potential right now for our town is unlimited. Getting the people here, like through the festivals, is just the start. Next, we need to have a reason for them to stay or come back. We need to have available jobs, and that's coming too. There's a newly completed long-term care facility over by the Wye River called Tiffin House. It's in Midland, it's creating opportunities for well-paying jobs in the healthcare field, but we need more than just that one. There are two dynamic companies operating in downtown Midland, LabX and Shop Midland, that offer exciting alternatives to traditional manufacturing jobs by leveraging the ability to conduct world-class business from anywhere in the world. They chose Midland, and they're using this thing called the internet. But we need more companies like that as well. So the problem we have is getting more businesses here, bringing more people here. But we can do that. But we need to make some changes. We need to have a town council that has a well-thought-out plan for its future. We need to create a local economy that our kids will be able to come back to and find well-paying jobs, affordable accommodations, and housing options that don't currently exist. We need progressive planning principles, modest taxes, and low development fees. Georgian Bay is unforgettable. Everyone talks about being drawn to the water. Believe me, I've talked to the kids that come into the shop, and they love going away to school, but they'd love to come back, right? But there's nothing really for them yet. If the opportunity was here, people would be making that lifestyle choice to live and to work here. So what are we going to do? We need active participation from the community to help with the ideas that can work. We need a town council that cooperates with town staff, and most importantly, each other. I think that this group right here tonight is probably the start of it. And I'm happy to be here.
Speaker is a gentleman named Stu Leggett, and his bio is going to flash up on the screen there. And Stu, just take your time. You gave me a list of stuff here. It's amazing. Now, just kidding. Stu was a firefighter in Mississauga, so he gained insight into the growth mentality often ingrained within bureaucracies. He founded the Canadian School of Rescue Training, and created effective emergency response protocols. Has many world records. I'm sure he's got a website, you could check that one out. But importantly, Stu and his wife Carol Curry currently work as artists from their Midland Avenue home. And his topic tonight is Midland's backflow by law. So Stu, without further ado, Stu.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. I'd like to take a moment to thank our town council and also our town staffers, because these people do an awful lot of work. They really do, and they often get beat up. I think we have a great community. I've been here for 18 years. My dad was born in Penetang. We went to Toronto sort of when I was very young. I was raised in a small rural community, so I'm really happy to be back here. And Carol and I have a little art gallery. I see a lot of people who've been in our gallery over the years. And we are a burgeoning sort of creative art enterprise that's in Midland, and we're bringing people into the community. But recently, we were faced with a backflow preventer. Now, as my fire department training taught me about water mains, backflow is an issue where water flows backwards. So we were required to install one in our house. It cost us $2,000. Apparently, Midland was one of 3 communities that launched a backflow protection program nationally. So I started to wonder, where did Midland get the knowledge to lead the country in backflow prevention? And what purpose does it serve? I'm sure a lot of people in the room don't know what a backflow preventer is, and nor do you really care. A lot of people think that it's something that prevents sewage from backflowing into the municipal water supply, but it doesn't. It's not designed to do that. It's a very expensive 2-valve system that you put at right after your water main. And it prevents, literally, the water that the town has just provided you, in our case it's about 8 gallons, that goes to our tap and our sink and our bathtub. If the town water pressure loses its pressure, its water mains, if they lose pressure, that fresh water that's in our plumbing system could potentially flow back into the municipal system, who's obviously going to be in a major trauma if they've lost pressure. There's going to be a break in the system. The water mains are going to be contaminated with whatever groundwater is sort of associated to that. the 8 gallons of water that's in our system is not a threat. Now, I've been asking for evidence to show what kind of morbidity is there to backflow injury in North America, and I can find no example in the last 100 years of a fatality due to backflow. Yet, something over 1,300 businesses in Midland are now required to spend, in my case, $2,000, and I'm sure a lot more for this building. And this does nothing. It does nothing at all to mitigate any risk. As Roy said, I've made a living sort of assessing risk and mitigating that risk. And I can see no risk to this. If you guys want to change Midland and make it easier, I mean, Carol and I, we look at our expenses and we say, you know, what's this council going to do? Are they going to, these bylaws, these municipal bylaws are the things that really affect you. I mean, the provincial, the federal laws certainly affect you, but the stuff that happens locally is the stuff that really affects you. And for us, it was, when we look at that mentality, and we say, is this somewhere where we want to settle? Like, we've been here 18 years and we just love the place. Our answer is yes, we're going to stay in Midland, but we're also going to voice our opinions. And I ask that you all do the same, and thank you for your time.
Next speaker is Lori Newland. If you check out the bio on the slide. Come on, Vanna. Okay. Lori is a realtor with Southern Bayside Realty in Midland. Lori has 25 years of real estate experience selling in both Midland and the Greater Vancouver area. Her passion is implementing creative housing solutions to keep Midland economically viable for Gen X's and Ys. And her topic speaks to economic development, growth, and friendly policy. And without further ado, Lori Newland. Thank you.
Thank you, Roy. Thanks, it's great to be here, and I'm glad to be speaking on this issue because it's one of the only things I know, real estate. So I hope to be able to add some insight to what I feel is happening here and what other cities and municipalities that I've been privileged to work in are doing to combat some of the changes that are necessary to keep a town viable economically and keep the youth, the X and Yers local. But I am here to talk about creative housing solutions, which I believe is a must requirement to keep Midland economically viable for Ys and Xers, Generation Y and X. In Midland, it's very expensive to run your own business and own a home. If you're an independent contractor, which is the way the world has gone a while ago, a decade or so ago, I mean, sure, there are a lot of people that have a really great job and they're secure. But for the most part, there's a lot of, I'm an independent contractor as a real estate agent, and there's a lot of us. If you cannot afford a home and you cannot afford to run a business, something has to give. One of those things are gonna jump off the chart, and it will affect Midland on an economic basis. We need to create housing solutions that calls upon the town to flex and or change its dated bylaws and policies. We need to offer yes-can solutions for our professional youth to not only be able to afford a home in Midland, but here's the kicker, have the surplus income from that home to support and offset their ability to stay local, own their own business, and eventually afford a commercial rental space if need be downtown. It's really not the capital cost of a home that really matters for these people. What it is it's the ability for the homeowner to make monthly payment. A big difference. You can buy a home for $350,000, and that's going to cost you, there's a few realtors in the room, quite a bit of money to own that home, a lot of expense to own that home. But if you bought a home for $500,000, with where I'm going with some of these slides, and do look at some of the slides of what Vancouver's doing, Regina's doing, that allowed creative housing opportunities, such as a garden suite in the backyard, an income suite above a garage, that type of thing. That home now becomes a $500,000 home, perhaps, but now there's actually surplus coming in, offsetting the mortgage. So these young people can get in. It's creative, they can get in, they have money in their jeans to maybe go downtown, like a few people I've already mentioned, and open up their own shingle, open up something downtown and start the business that they've always wanted to do. These two things really do go hand in hand. We are all in this together. We've got to make a change here in Midland. And I'll just basically wrap this up with a question. So what do? We speak out, we get involved, we do what's necessary to see Midland thrive for all demographics equally. And thank you very much for your time, and hope that makes some sense to you.
Hey, my next guest, some great stuff there. Cody Oshevsky, he and I shared a birthday not long ago, and one of us is younger than the other one. Cody is, I gotta at least explain who you are, Cody. You'll see the bio. He can't wait. He's a maintenance electrician at TRW. Hosts a dynamic website page, with that debate page, and connects with 1,500 followers on Facebook, this young guy. He's got high energy and a real can-do attitude. His passion, what do you expect from an electrician? To bring the spark back to Midland. Hey, Cody, have some fun. Good.
Thank you, everybody. Sorry. Hi, everybody. Times have changed in Midland. This is not the town that I was born in. Gone are the days where manufacturing jobs were plentiful here, where one member of a family could dig their feet in somewhere and the other could plan to be a stay-at-home parent. Midland used to be a rich, industrious town, plentiful with jobs and beautiful places to visit. In my 9 years at TRW, I've seen the starting wage go from $18.50 down to $13. With factories closing all over town, people have no choice, accept a lower wage or be unemployed. Times have changed. Gone are the days where tourists would come from far and wide to camp at our once beautiful little lake park, eating fries at Dobie's and then playing around a mini putt. Gone are the bushes where I and my generation used to hang out, now known as Tiffin by the Bay. Where do the kids go now? They go online. Times have changed. 30 years ago, my parents came here from Aurelia because there were so many jobs to choose from. They could be anything they wanted to be in Midland. My father became an electrician at Elcan, my mother in the office at TRW. We're still here. We voted in council after council and trusted them to build a town that would be as rich with potential as when my parents got here. 30 years later, where does Midland stand? We've got an empty mall, empty parks, empty factories. We've got increased property tax and decreased service. No more big garbage pickup, one bag of garbage, added charges for people with septic. Now I understand garbage collection is done by the county, but the bottom line is increased cost of living and decreased quality of life has become a trend in Midland. Times have changed. Now we need to change. We can all start today. It starts with how we think, how we act, where we buy our goods and services, and by committing to support local first. There's so many businesses in this town run by passionate people who want to make a change for this town. Help them. It will help you in the long run. We're all meant to do it. We need to focus on putting our money into things that will attract people to our town and make it safe and beautiful for the people living here. We need to beautify our parks and make sure they're clean and safe. We should be investing more money in new technologies. Information technology and green energy are the way of the future. Let's get ahead of technology before we get left behind. We also need a council of people who know Midland, and more importantly, care about the people here and the community as a whole. We need policy that encourages business to come here and for local people to stay and do business here. More incentives, less fees. More allowance for festivals and shows to attract people and bring people together. We need to earn the reputation of a town of people who support local, who stand behind their town and support and encourage each other. New businesses, new tourism ideas, new events, new dreams. We need a plan. Times have changed, and we need to evolve to embrace that change and come out of it a stronger town. I, for one, am willing to do anything in my power to bring Midland back. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak today. I'd like to thank Roy Ellis, Lot 102, midlandcommunity.ca. Midland is my passion.
Our next speaker is no stranger to most of you here. His name is Colin Pake. He's the founder of ShopMidland.com and the ShopCity.com network that includes more than 8,000 locations, or domains some people call them, including ShopBoston.com, ShopNewYork.com. His passion is to help local business leverage the power of the internet to build stronger local economies. So without further ado, Colin Pake.
Thanks, Cody. Thanks, everyone. Great to be here. This is so exciting to be a part of, I think, really the genesis of the next wave of development and leadership in Midland. I think that with all the incredible brain power and resources and dedication and passion in this room, that we could really start turning this around. And I think that the summer of 2014 is going to be seen as the summer where things really build momentum, and going forward over the next 5 years where we laid the foundation for an incredibly prosperous future. And so I think one of the recurring themes that everybody kind of keeps hitting on is economic development and jobs. And let's face it, it's a financial, it's an economic world, and money is often what drives decisions. It's what drives our ability to make the right decisions in a lot of cases, and it's what enables us to create the pull that we need to really maximize the potential of the area. And compared to 20 years ago, you know, the quality of jobs, as Cody mentioned, $18 an hour to $13.50, that's a big change. And when you look at all the companies that have closed down and just the way that the economy's changed, it's nothing that's specific just to Midland, it's the way that the globalized economy has gone, and it's really just a kind of symptom of the world that we've created. But I think that there's a bit of a different way that we have the opportunity to go, and it's been alluded to a lot that, you know, the internet is something that we can certainly leverage. And there are so many ways that we can do that, from really getting the word out about what's great about Midland, getting people here. But using the internet, we can create some really high-paying, prosperous jobs, and we can enable people to take advantage of the quality of life here, and we can attract the talent based on that quality of life. And I can speak to a couple of examples. Somebody mentioned LabX. I don't know how familiar you guys are with that company. It's in the glass building where Tim Hortons used to be downtown, started by a guy who had a cottage here as a child and came here in the early 2000s to build a tech company. And he's done that. He employs, I believe, around 35 people right now, and the company is growing extremely rapidly. They actually have the most engaging Facebook page in the entire world, based here in Midland. It's pretty impressive. I can barely repeat the name. It's actually called I Effing Love Science, believe it or not. If you've been on Facebook, you've seen it. There's about 14 million people that like this Facebook page, and it is literally the most engaging Facebook page out of hundreds of millions. It's an incredible accomplishment. It's based here in Midland, and they are leveraging that property to drive a whole bunch of other businesses that they have, including magazines and websites like labx.com. There's huge potential with that business. And then our company, ShopCity.com, a lot of people actually think that we're just ShopMidland.com, and we were. We started ShopMidland.com 14 years ago when I was 20 years old, and it has since grown so that we now have a franchise network of 25 locations across Canada. There's 25 in the US. We employ downtown 15 people. We have 45 employees throughout the entire company. We have an office in California, and we have potential to build out 8,000 of these sites because we bought up all these domain names 10, 12 years ago, and we have all these people that are coming to us wanting to do the same thing. They've seen what we've done in Midland, how we have this online ecosystem for supporting local businesses, and they want to do the same thing in their community. And we have an opportunity to really prove a model and attract some capital and build kind of the next wave potentially of employment in this community. People and companies that we compete against, like Groupon and eBay, they employ thousands and tens of thousands of people. And we see, kind of my vision for this is to employ a whole lot of people here in Midland, do it downtown, create a really holistic economy where we're supporting each other, supporting the local businesses, passionate entrepreneurs that everybody's been talking about, and really build something for the future that we can be proud of. And it's amazing, when I go outside of the community, we just sold shopreddeer.com in Red Deer, Alberta. We were out there training the guy, and this guy is so excited by what we've been able to do here in Midland. It's incredible. It's really exciting. And to go to what Cody was talking about, it's about supporting local businesses, supporting the community, and there's just huge, tremendous potential there. And everybody who's in this room can help us do that by supporting the local businesses, actively trying to shop in Midland and in the surrounding communities and try to create a more prosperous local economy. It's one thing to attract from the outside, which is obviously a huge goal, but just within what we have here, if we're spending our money and we're doing it with the people who are downtown, the people who have roots here, the people who spend more of their money here versus driving down to Barrie, hopping onto Amazon.com, we have an opportunity to leverage something called the local multiplier effect, where that individual dollar could be worth up to 10 times as much as it circulates through the economy. And so, a lot of really exciting things that we can be doing, a lot of really great things that are starting to happen. So, thank you so much for the time tonight, and look forward to seeing you at the next event.
Thanks, Colin. Okay, so let's try and tie a ribbon around everything we've heard tonight, and then we can maybe have a drink and share some more stories and all that good stuff. And let's talk about what matters in 2014 and 18 and beyond. And I've got sort of a Lemon's top 10 list happening here. And because we've touched on it briefly with some of our speakers, I'm going to go fairly quickly like a road runner. Beep, beep. Oh, here we go. Number one, implement the KPMG recommendations. Capture the savings, lock them in, and then commit to annual spending increases at or below the rate of inflation. 2, consider alternative models for delivery of all services, and especially emergency services that consume more than 40% of our taxes. 3, and I don't know why people feel threatened about this one, recruit and involve talented volunteers from the community to provide input to councils and senior staff on complex issues like purchasing, planning, finance, Look at the talent we have in this room, totally unleashed for involve citizens directly and meaningfully in the operation and management of underperforming municipal assets. 5, focal council's attention on the 20% of things that significantly matter and affect 80% of residents and business versus the 80% that affect only 20%. You've all heard this before. And that's focus, and that's streamlining meeting agendas so the council focuses on the major issues and the opportunities. 6, get Midland and area back to work through the new Economic Development Office and through targeted development. Midland boasts, you just heard from Colin, the most engaging Facebook page in the world, right here in Midland, and hosts the leaders of the Shop Local movement online, right here in Midland. So we need to build on these significant and unique assets in the tech space. Additionally, we need to market our value, our assets, and our beauty. 7, embrace a downtown revitalization plan. Scotty talked about this. And get the deal done with Uniman, where success equals jobs plus pride. 8, we need to commit to creative planning and a friendly regulatory environment that supports a can-do attitude when it comes to innovative and affordable housing. Avoid unnecessary impediments like backflow bureaucracy and septic inspections, off-the-chart development fees, shoreline studies, and other complexities that discourage investment and impede growth. We need to leave business to business and make Midland investment friendly. The town should foster an environment that promotes investment instead of competing with business by expanding its own power base, its own workforce, and its own bureaucracy. That's not good. And 10, we need to redefine Midland as a stay point, not a waypoint. Turn the tourism and culture plans into reality and put Midland back on the map as a happening destination, leveraging assets like Little Lake Park. Finally, we need to start running the town like a business. To be clear, the town of Midland must run like a business. Like a business, the town has a brand. It should have a well-defined strategy to evolve its brand and to grow and maximize its assets. The town, like a business, requires sound management and should always seek out the passion, the best and brightest talent. Thank you. And at all times be on the fringe of lunacy with driving greater efficiencies. Driving greater efficiencies. Said differently, adding value to what you do for your customers, for what you pay. Finally, it should embrace social responsibility and have a culture of listening and responding to its customers, the taxpayers of Midland, and the similarities go on and on. So this now concludes our assessment of the good, the bad, the work in progress, and the opportunities we see as we look to 2014 and beyond. Thanks to all 5 speakers. I mean, the word inspired comes to mind here. I feel energized and fortunate that we have 5 folks like that just already hitting the ball out of the park in some cases and wants to hit it even further. So thanks again for you guys. I'd like to vote for unleashing the 5 of you and just let us get the hell out of your way is what we want to do, right? What do you think?